Hi, my name is Stephanie Iverson. I'm going to demo our Virginia Marine Resources electronic reporting system. This is the first screen that you would come to once you got on the web application. The web application address is https://webapps.mrc.virginia.gov/harvest/. Once you get to this screen, if you do not have an account, you can request an account. You click the request account button. It will ask for your first name, your last name, your VMRC ID, your vessel document number. Please remember it needs to be a U.S. Coast Guard documentation number or state registration number. Your email account. It needs to be a unique email account. This will also serve as your user ID once your account has been established. You hit the submit button and that information will go to my email account. If you have a user name, which is your email address, you type it in. I'm going to be using the test user account, and you put in your password. Your password has rules on what you will have to be able to use. You should be able to see those rules on this screen. If you don't see them, if you type in your password, it will prompt you for the rules will come up and you will have to use the rules that they give you. You have to have an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, certain symbols, numbers, and it cannot represent any word that you can find in a dictionary. Okay, once you're into the system, you can look at the Blue Crab tab. This is for your Blue Crab harvesters. There are several tabs here that you can look at. You have your year, your month, your day, if you used an agent. If you did use an agent, you use yes. If the agent has an MRC ID, you will put it there. If they do not, you continue. You would type in your buyer's name. Please wait for the drop-down menu. Your hours, your gear fished, your gear amount, the amount of gear that you pull, not the amount of gear that you're necessarily licensed for. If you're licensed for 255 and you only pull 200 pots that day, please put in 200, not 255. Pots, blue crabs, water that you fished in. Type in the first. Click in the button for your water. Your landing, type in your landing, click in the button, your species. If you have males, Jimmy crabs, you click in there, whatever unit, you caught it in bushels, the amount, the number of crew, yourself, plus any additional crew persons that you had. If it's 2 other persons on the vessel with yourself, that would be 3. Your waterman hours, number of hours from dock to dock, any MRC IDs of any of your crew members, the vessel that you actually were harvesting in, you hit the submit button. As you see, it says your record was entered successfully. Everything stays except your amount. You always have to change your amount. So now I'm going to the next day, which is the 10th. Everything here stayed the same. I'm going to the same dealer. I have the same amount of pots I'm pulling. I have the same water area. However, caught 6 females. I recorded them in pounds this time. But the amount, my crew didn't change, my waterman hours didn't change, my vessel did not change. All of that information stayed the same. You hit the submit button. It's successfully submitted. Again, all of it stayed the same. But let's say you tried to put in another dealer and you typed their name in. You didn't click in the box. You just kept going. You left it the way it is. You put in amount. And then you hit submit. The system is going to tell you that the buyer is invalid. You're going to have to go back and put in the correct buyer. You have to click in the button in order for the code to come in. So then if you try to hit it again, it's going to tell you you didn't have an amount. It'll come back. You have to make sure you put an amount in. If you don't, you didn't the first time. You hit submit. Okay, now all your records are entered successfully. Anywhere there's red writing that says type buyer name, you have to type the buyer name. You have to click in the box. Where there's water, you have to click in the box. You type the name and you have to click in the box for the correct abbreviation to come in. Where there's a landing, you have to type the name in and click in the box. If you don't type in, if you don't click in the box and you just click keep going and you try to hit submit, it's going to tell you didn't enter the amount. You got to put in an amount because you didn't change that. It said there's an error in the data because you got to go and review. Something was wrong. It'll highlight the record that you have a problem in. If you go back, you'll see that the landing, you never clicked in the box. So you have to type in and you have to click in the box. When you're keying your data, you went over here and you looked at your buyers that you want to sell to, over here on the left, and you see your buyer's code. You go over here and you try to type in that buyer's code. Although it says type the buyer's name, you type it in, no results will come up. You cannot type in a code. You have to type in a buyer name and click in the box. The system will put the code in automatically. You cannot put the code in yourself, even if you know the code. Back on your main menu, you have several tabs. You're allowed to look at your records for up to 30 days. You hit the review records. It states up here, you may view, edit, or delete records that were entered within the last 30 days. If you go beyond the 30-day window, you would need to contact my office to make any changes. Every record that you've entered, as long as it's been within that 30-day window, will show up. You can modify the record. You notice that you had 2 bushels, but really it should have been 5. You can change the amount. Hit the modify button, close the window, and the 2 have changed to 5 when you made the change. If you find out you sent in too many things or you put in the wrong information, you can delete a record. It'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete it? If you hit it by mistake, don't delete. If it's something that you do need to delete, hit the delete button. If you have multiple records that you know that you keyed incorrectly, you can click delete out to the right and hit group delete. It won't delete them automatically. It'll make sure, it'll ask you again, are you sure you want to delete all the check records? Maybe you checked some that you didn't mean to check. If you checked all the correct ones that you want to delete, you hit OK. If you didn't, go back and hit cancel. And you can take off the one that you didn't want to delete. It'll ask you the same thing again. Has many checks and balances in the system. It won't just let you automatically do things and not stop you to make sure you're absolutely made that correction that you wanted to make. Go back to the main menu. You can also report no activity for the month. If you have a whole month that you know that you're not going to have any activity, you finish crabbing at the end of September, you know October, November, and December you will not have any activity, you can click those months, hit continue. It will ask you to confirm that you wanted to report no activity for the months that you clicked. If you put in the wrong months, you can go back, you can hit cancel and go back. If those are the months that you want to report no activity, you can hit confirm. It will tell you that you successfully reported no activity for those months. You can go back to your main menu. If you'd like to look at your harvest history that you've submitted, there's a report that you can create. You can get that report by the year, you can get it by the month, you can get it by the year, you can get it by the species. If you don't put anything in any of these and you just have the year, it will, and hit the run report, it will show you every record that you've entered for the entire year. Also, if you have records, vessels, you can review all of the vessels associated with your account. Remember, you can't add vessels when you're keying your data. The vessels have to already be here. You can delete any vessel. Before it removes it, it's going to ask you. Well, this one won't. This one will take that vessel out, so be very careful. I'm sorry. If you hit delete, it's going to delete it. It's the only one that doesn't have a delay on it. There will always be a vessel associated with your account, because in order to set up your account, you have to have a vessel associated with it. So you always have one vessel. But let's say the vessel that you have associated with it is not the vessel that you are currently working on for that harvest. Then you would need to review your vessels and you would need to add it. And this is where you need to add it. Remember, once again, that your vessel has to be a U.S. Coast Guard vessel, documentation number, or a Virginia registered vessel. Come out to the main menu. You can provide us feedback. If you have any questions about the system, or you're not sure about anything, or you'd like to see some changes, you can type in whatever your suggestion is. Hit submit. It will thank you for your feedback. That feedback will go directly into my email account, and it would be there the next day. See if I get my Google map. All right. If you would like to look at blue crab sanctuaries, hit the Google Maps. It'll show you the whole entire bay sanctuaries. If you'd like to add a layer for the shellfish condemnation zones authorized by the Virginia Department of Health, those red areas would all show you any condemnation areas. If you have any other species that you're catching besides your blue crabs, as you can see, all of the things that you did for that day, for that submission, are there. If you want to go back to the main menu and add some other species that's not in the drop-down box, you would hit report all other. If you notice, all of your information stays there, and all you have to do is update the species. But you have to come over here and get the species name, because that nice convenient drop-down box that you guys have in the blue crab tab is not here. So if you have something other than those species, let's say you had some butterfish, and you need to type in butterfish just the way you see it over there in the species table. So you just start typing in the word butter, and butterfish should come up. Click in the box. Had the amount unit was probably changing to pounds. Put the amount in. Caught it in your peeler pot. Some bycatch in your peeler pot. All your gear information stay the same. Your crew stay the same. Your hours that you were actually out there. Your helper information. You have to select your vessel again. And you hit submit. So you can cross in between the tabs in the main back and forth, and you don't lose any of your information. It's all still there. Only thing you want to change is whatever changes. If the amount changes, if the date changes, if the gear changes, any changes is what you have to put in here. But you don't have to retype everything all over again. At the main menu, you can see my name and telephone number is here. You can contact my office. If I'm not available, you can leave a message with anyone. You will be contacted within 24 hours. My email address will be on your new user email. You'll get a new user email account once your account has been set up. It will have on there all of the system specs that you will need in order to run this web application. You do need the most and the latest version, I should say the latest versions of Google Chrome. I'm currently using Internet Explorer or Firefox. The welcome email will have all of those versions that are required as a minimum in order for the system to operate. Also know that your internet connectivity will impact how quickly all of these systems and buttons come up. If your internet connection is not very good, it's going to take a little longer than maybe what I've shown here. So remember, your internet connection is what's important. The website that you need to go to get started. Your password that has to be changed every 90 days. If you go all the way out where you log in and you forgot your password, you're in the system and somehow you don't remember what your password is, if you click on the forgot your password button, it'll request a new password. You put in the email address, hit request. This request will come to my email and will generate you a temporary password automatically. It's done automated. I don't have to be in the system, so you can do that 24/7. It'll automatically generate you a temporary password. Once you put your temporary password in, it'll prompt you to put in a new password. Okay, that's our Virginia Marine Resources Commission electronic reporting system. Again, thank you, and hopefully you'll be contacting me shortly.